Hello everybody, welcome to another edition of Chat with the Chief. As always, I'm your Chief Jared Mills, and today I'm here with Lesley Jones. Three-peat, you've been on this show a bunch of times
I know, and
now.
I'm world famous.
You're one of my favorite guests. What we're doing the next couple of weeks, obviously, is we want to get the information out from the department directors and what they're doing, so we can let the public know exactly what we're doing as a city. You know, the whole operation, if you will, and we'll kind of break it down. Tomorrow I'm going to talk to Keith Luke, and we've talked to the fire department. So we want to know, what is Public Works doing specifically with rubbish collection and that type of thing? What's going on with the curbside and that type of thing?
Unfortunately, there have been a lot of changes in the rubbish collection. A lot of our work involves our employees to work very closely together. So in order to try and comply with the CDC COVID-19 guidelines, we're trying to do the 6 feet of separation. And that is very difficult if you're in a truck with a rider and a driver, because we measured it actually, and it's about 45 inches, so that's just shy of 4 feet. We're supposed to do 6 feet. So we've had to make some significant changes to our rubbish collection, and it hasn't made us very popular on the street because our routes have changed, our timing has changed. We're getting to streets earlier than some people might expect. So I'll just jump down to the ordinance requires that rubbish be curbside by 7 a.m. and everything has to be bagged in a bag that's tough enough to hold what you've got in it and tied, because we don't want our loaders dealing with loose rubbish. Needs to be curbside by 7, needs to be on the edge of the road. We don't run up driveways to pick up rubbish. So so the other thing we've done is our rubbish collection is a big rubbish truck with a driver and 2 guys, you call them back end guys or rubbish throwers. They're the guys who are getting off on the street and picking up your rubbish and my rubbish. In order to get the 6 feet of separation, we have devised like a clear curtain in the cab. Okay. So if you and I are in the truck and I'm the driver and you're the passenger, going to be one of the rubbish throwers, we've got a plastic curtain. It's basically a plastic curtain that's separating us. It's clear so the driver can see, and then when we get to the stop in the city, when we get to the neighborhood, he gets out, and then the second thrower is following in a pickup truck. So he might, if we were doing the West Side neighborhood, he might park on State Street, jump on the back of the truck, the other loader will get out, so it's a driver and 2 loaders, and they'll go and do that neighborhood. And then when they're done with that, the second loader will get back in the truck in his pickup and drive to the next neighborhood, so that we're keeping the 6 feet of distance. And when they pick up the rubbish, when they're going down the street, you're picking up that side, I'm picking up this side, and if we come to a big stop where in the past you and I both might have gone out and attacked the pile, is you're picking it up, and the next time there's a big pile, I'm picking it up, because when we're both going for the pile, we're 2 feet or less next to each other. So it's a little different. The guys have done really, really well. I'm really proud of them. They're enforcing that everything has to be in a bag, no loose rubbish. They're practicing the social distancing, washing the hands, and all the CDC guidelines. So we've got that down. We're actually have receipt of a new rubbish truck, and typically we trade our old rubbish truck, so that will give us an extra rubbish truck. So once we get that extra rubbish truck, there'll be 1 big rubbish truck with 1 loader, so we'll have an extra truck on each run. So if you're used to getting your rubbish picked up at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you might be getting it picked up at 8 o'clock in the morning. So we've had a lot of calls that, hey, you've missed my rubbish, and we are going through the routes. So that's why it's really important right now to have it curbside by 7 a.m.
Yeah, and the whole reason, it sounds like, is for the social distancing and the safety of employees.
Yeah.
A lot of people may not realize, but Public Works is a first responder as well. We can't do this stuff without you. The sanitation part, the roads, we got a snowstorm coming up tonight. So it's very important, as the fire chief talked about, or one of the battalion chiefs talked about when he was here. It's very important that our employees follow those safety standards too, because without them, the whole operation collapses. So it's very important for Public Works as well.
And even though rubbish is something that people just put out at the curb and expect it to go away, it's not there is no magic. It's a couple of workers working hard, and with people home, there's more rubbish.
Sure.
And more people are watching them. We had a concern today that why weren't they wearing masks? Because we were able to do the social distancing, we're not requiring them to wear masks, and wearing masks when they're doing physical work can be a little bit of a challenge, but we are going to get some masks, and we will start having them wear them when they're in a truck together, even though we've got the clear separation.
Which is important to point out, that's the same thing the fire department does with their rescues. They put the same plastic divider, and we do that with our transport vehicles. With the police department, we have the cages, but we actually have plastic separating too. So that's a standard through the CDC. Great stuff. So we're talking about the safety of curbside pickup, and I think you've touched everything on that so people can understand as far as the safety parts, putting everything in bags and that type of thing. How about Hatch Hill? What do we want to move into Hatch Hill and talk about the operations there?
Yeah, the only thing, maybe before that, I could just mention recycling a little bit.
Absolutely.
We've had, we provide drop-off recycling at both Public Works and Hatch Hill. Because we went into essential services and buildings, city buildings were locked down, and we're trying to abide by the governor's order to stay healthy, stay home. Recycling is not an essential service, so we've shut those services down. People have said, well, it doesn't involve any interaction between your guys and the people, and it's like, well, it doesn't involve a lot, but it does involve some, because we've got to make sure that we're getting the correct material, and we also have to go out and monitor that bin and do maintenance on it. And right now, because we've got people out because of the COVID, they don't have the coronavirus, but some of them have underlying health conditions that allow them to be out of work at this time. I'm trying to, every time I see the city managers, like, Bill, I'm just so grateful that the guys are coming to work and we're able to run the landfill and pick up the rubbish, because those are our critical services, along with, oh, by the way, we've got a snowstorm tonight. We've mounted all our plows, the parking ban's still in effect, and we're ready to plow when we need, if we need to, in the morning.
Yeah, and that's important for people to understand. It's kind of the same with every operation. Is it may be less efficient, it may be inconvenience to people, certainly with our services as well in the fire department, but at the end of the day, we have to keep our employees safe, because if we don't, then the tent folds and there's no services. Right. The whole place shuts down.
Yeah, my biggest fear is we won't have enough people to pick up the rubbish.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Excellent. So yeah, Hatch Hill is basically, you talked about the recycling. How about Hatch Hill and the operations out there? Is there anything important for the folks to know more than we've already discussed? Yeah,
again, there's no recycling at Hatch Hill right now. Hatch Hill is functioning as a household waste only site at this time. Again, a critical service. People need to get rid of their rubbish, which may, be contaminated, have food waste in it, have medical, not red bag waste, but waste that doesn't need to hang around. So we're just taking household waste, and the reason for that, again, is social distancing. Excuse me. We don't have enough. In the scale house, we can't, excuse me, provide for.
Pop it out and start it again.
They do. They can cut and paste.
Well, I was waiting for you to bring me water. So start at the beginning.
You could probably
at the scale house.
At the scale house.
The scale house not set up to promote social distancing, and we can't have two operators in the building because there's just not enough room. So right now we're just taking the household rubbish. We were getting 200 customers a day, and when a customer comes in, it's a contact with that customer in, and it's a contact out for payment and to ask any questions. So through the end of the month, it's going to be household rubbish only. We're trying to figure out if we can put up a temporary scale house around the scale area, so we can have one person in one scale house and one in the other, and do in and out, and then we can go back to full service. But again, what we found was we had a couple nice weekends. A lot of people were out of work or home, and they were doing yard cleanings and garage cleanings and house cleanings, and we had 200 customers on a Thursday, which is really unheard of. And with one person in the scale house, you can't handle it. So we're working very hard to get back to full service, but it's going to take a little time to work out the logistics, just like it has with getting the clear sheet in the cab so we can put 2 people in a cab.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's great information for people. You know, they may not know, oh, geez, why isn't this happening? So you're explaining that to everybody very good. And
And we went to Monday through Friday operation. Yeah, because Saturdays in the spring we can get up to 300 customers, and the only way we could stop that was to close it on Saturdays. I anticipate that's going to go on through the summer, and we've stopped handling cash to help the scale operator work a little efficiency. Everything's credit or debit, or unless you're an existing charge account.
excellent,
Yep.
great info. How about street sweeping? Do we want to talk a little bit about what's going on with street sweeping
Yeah, we had a we didn't
after
have
the snowstorm?
Right. We didn't have any snow for about 6 weeks, and then we had, I think, our biggest storm of the year a couple weeks ago, and now they've got 4 to 12 inches forecast for tonight. We did start street sweeping, and it's not uncommon for us to start, and then we get a spring storm, and we have to stop and go plow. But what we do with this storm is on the main arterials, we're using straight salt. So anything we've already cleaned, we might have to go back and just touch up, but we don't, it's not like we're gonna put out yards of sand and it was a total waste of time. So the street sweeping starts now, it'll end the middle of May. We start out with the main arterials, and then we do the neighborhoods, the west side and the east side, and that sweeping schedule is all online, both on Facebook and the website. We're posting a lot of information on Facebook right now because of all the changes. And we encourage people to follow us on Facebook.
That's a way to get the best information, social media. Excellent. I think we've covered everything we wanted to. Is there anything you'd like to get out to everybody as far as your operations go before we wrap up?
No, just a big shout out to the rubbish guys. That's hard work. They don't get a lot of acknowledgement for the work they do, and it's just such a vital service, and I'm just very grateful for them and the great work they do.
Good stuff. And I'll throw a shout out to your whole operation with everybody working. It's vital to our operations, and we couldn't do it without you either.
Thank you, Chief, for letting me join you today and share the important programs that we do.
Well, absolutely my pleasure. Always a pleasure to have you on the show, and tune in next time.